L.
The Pet Clinic on today, sponsored by petfix-club.com. Love your pet? Join the club.
Now, one of the things that everybody was waiting for after lockdown was the opening of hairdressers. Well, it's not just us humans that needed to be pampered and groomed. Our pets need to be taken care of as well. And Pete the vet is here to tell us all about grooming. Pete, great to have you on the show. Have we gone absolutely bananas when it comes to grooming our pets?
I don't think we have at all. There's an element of bananas in the sense that some people want their dogs to look like fluffy pom-poms in a very exotic and kind of colourful.
Like an accessory.
Like an accessory kind of way. But really, that's not what it's about. I mean, the appearance of a dog is important, but dogs don't know what they look like, so they really don't care at all. They go around being themselves, looking out, not looking in mirrors and thinking about that. So, but what is really important, though, is that dogs are kept healthy and comfortable. And that's why grooming is so important. And that's why grooming didn't actually stop right down through lockdown, because for some dogs, grooming is essential for their welfare.
Okay, because like I always thought grooming was about how the dog looked, but it's not about that at all, Pete. It's about how they feel. And if they feel good, they will be well.
Exactly. And especially in the summer months, because if a dog has a thick, dense coat, it's going to overheat far more easily. Okay. So it's important to keep their coat as light as possible so that they stay as comfortable as possible.
Now, pets, they come in many forms, cats, dogs, rabbits, everything. Are there different types of grooming for different animals?
Well, there are, yes, and that's a good point. To deal with the simple one first, which is rabbits. Rabbits basically have most rabbits don't need groomed, maybe a quick brush now and again because they've got short fur, but long-furred rabbits like Angora, they get into a terrible mess if they're not groomed almost every day. So if you get one of those rabbits like an Angora, because they're used to produce fibre, like Angora wool, and so they naturally produce loads and loads of
So you have to get rid of all that?
You have to get rid of all that every day with regular brushing.
So what would happen if you didn't? Would the rabbit get agitated because the rabbit would be too warm?
They get dense, matted fur that would cause them real discomfort. Okay. So a really important part of looking after a long-furred rabbit is to look after their fur.
I think we have a dog next.
Yeah. So next thing are dogs. Well, there's two different kinds of dogs. What you're looking at there is a Yorkshire Terrier. Type dog. So it's not a Yorkshire Terrier, but it's a Terrier type dog. Yeah. And they've got this long coat which keeps growing. It's a non-shed coat. That means that if you didn't cut their fur, it would grow right down to the ground and it would keep growing.
And how fast would that grow, Pete?
Well, quite quickly. I don't know, maybe an inch or 2 inches a month even. Quite long, quite quickly. And what that means is that absolutely needs to be cut for the animal's welfare, because otherwise it's dragging along the ground. Yeah. So that's that kind of non-shed coat. The other kind of non-shed coat would be an Old English Sheepdog, which they've not only they've got a long coat, like as in the fur growing long, kind of going out the way, but also under that there's a very dense undercoat that grows steadily all the time. So they end up with like out of control dreadlocks all over them if they're not groomed regularly. So they need to be clipped off properly, right down to the skin.
Pete, I don't think anybody thinks of this when they're getting a dog for Christmas or for their birthday or something. They say, oh, it's lovely. They don't realise the amount of attention the dog will need throughout the year.
Well, you see, long-haired, non-shed dogs, that's not the average dog. Most dogs are like Kiko, and they're called shed breeds or shedding breeds. And what happens is they generally get a new coat in the spring, a new coat in the summer, and really, although because they're shedding all the time, it's more of an annoyance that they're leaving fur in the house.
Yeah, for us, not for them. Yeah. They're quite happy.
They're quite happy, but the shedding means that the hair doesn't grow very long, so they don't actually need to be cut. But they still need to be brushed a bit, and you still have to. What works really well with dogs like Kiko is to have a daily food supplement, like mackerel oil.
So, something like this
Something like that. You put a squirt of mackerel oil in their diet every day, and the essential fatty acids in that will make sure that their coat is as healthy and as shiny as possible, and they may shed a little bit less as well.
What about cats then, Pete?
And with cats, again, short-haired cats who are the same sort of length of coat as Kiko, they don't really need any sort of grooming, maybe an occasional brush as well, that's all. But long-haired cats like Persians and other ones like that, they need to be groomed daily as well. Daily. And especially as they get older, because older cats are prone to, they don't groom themselves as well. They might have a bit of a sore mouth, they might get a bit of arthritis, and they can't bend around as much. And for that reason, they get matted fur, especially along their back. And those cats need daily grooming, and if they don't get that, they'll get mats that need to go to a groomer and get it clipped off them properly.
Now, Pete, you can do all this at home, right? And when I think of a dog inside in the bath, I think of Beethoven.
Yeah, right, yes.
Where the dog comes out and throws all the suds and all the dirty water all around the place. It doesn't have to be like that.
No, it doesn't have to be like that. I think the important thing is to get your dog used to being washed early on, so it's no big deal, all right? And use the right shampoos, use dog shampoos. Here's some various different types of dog shampoos. That's a puppy shampoo. That's a lovely one with a very rich kind of an aroma, a forest aroma that dogs love.
Check this one out. You're after building it up, Pete. Oh, that's nice. Lovely, piney.
It is,
piney.
yeah. And so it's a scent that's been designed so that dogs enjoy it as well as humans like it.
Pete,
that's a dry shampoo as well.
What would happen if you used, say, my own shampoo on a dog?
Well, you see, the pH of dog's skin is different.
Okay.
You could do it,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be a good outcome for the dog.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Now, of course, once you wash a dog, you should probably dry the dog as well.
Back to Beethoven shaking, yes. So you can use this is a special microfiber towel that's designed with little handles in it, make it easier to give
Kiko's
a
seen
dog
this before, so
give a dog a rub
Kiko
down
knows what's
afterwards.
going to happen. And
So
again, do this when the dog is young, so the dog will be used to it and familiar with it.
And another product that I absolutely love is a thing called a dog robe.
Yes.
Kiko.
We have one here.
Finzi. This is my other dog, Finzi. Finzi, come on.
Yeah, Brendan.
And she's got
It's like a dry robe people use coming out of the sea.
Exactly. But look, it's perfect for dogs because if your dog goes swimming in the sea and you're going to drive home with them, they're going to make a mess of your car. So instead of that, put a dog robe on them and they'll be kept nice and dry and warm, and your car will be kept dry as well.
It's fair to say as well, if you don't have a dog robe and if the dog goes swimming with you, the dog will be perfectly fine as well, Pete. Is it fair to say that?
It'd be fine, but this is the icing on the cake.
Okay.
This is the icing on the cake.
No, this is for us, so the dog won't dirty the car, I think, more so than the dog. But the dog will be very, very happy.
Yes.
Now, you have a few tools there as well, Pete.
Yes,
Just run through them.
So it's important to get the right sort of grooming tools when you are giving your dog a bit of a brush. So this is a thing called a slicker brush.
A slicker brush.
Which has got very fine wires on it, and it's really good for taking out the undercoat from a dog's coat like this.
Yeah.
And so when you brush for a while like that, you'll find you get this sort of fluffy stuff on here.
Yeah.
And that makes the dog's coat lighter.
Lovely.
And then this is a thing called a shedding tool, which is there's different ones of these on the market now, and they're basically designed as they've got a blade built into them. So you have to use them quite carefully.
Yeah.
But when you use these,
Nice and gently.
they're quite good at taking.
You can even see it there, can't you?
Yes.
It's very, very smooth. Isn't that right, Kiko?
It's actually cutting some of the fur as it goes, so it helps to thin out the coat, which is a really effective thing to do if you want your dog to have a nice summer kind of fur coat.
Can we go to the clippers, Pete? Because I want to ask you as well a few other things. So can you just show us quickly how to do this and how far do you go in?
Yeah,
this is the question I have for you.
Well, first of all, there's two kinds of nail clippers, all right? First kind is what's called a scissor kind, which literally is like scissors. And the second kind is what's called the guillotine kind, where it chops more like a sort of, I suppose, a guillotine.
Yeah.
Like
But
a guillotine.
how far do you go in?
So how far you go is... Kiko doesn't need a nails clipped just now, and most dogs don't need their nails clipped because they wear them on the ground naturally.
Yeah.
It's only if they grow so long that they're curling around and sort of getting towards digging into the pad that you need to do that. And that's common in some older dogs and in some dogs with sort of wonky kind of feet. But the other one is the little dew claws on the side there.
Yeah.
They tend to go a little bit long, and you can see Kiko's, that one there is a little bit long, so I will just trim it just now.
While you're trimming that, Pete, where can people get in contact with you over the summer?
If people go to petfix-club.com, I'm there all the time. You click on My Pets, Ask a Vet, and I'll be there to get back to you with any answers.
You have a lovely piece in the Examiner as well now, weekly.
Yes, every Monday now, I've got a pet column in the Irish Examiner. I'm delighted about that.
Oh, brilliant. That's great. Now, give us a quick...
Yeah, here we go.
A quick demonstration there, Pete.
So basically, you have to be aware, you don't want to go too far or you'll make them bleed.
Okay.
So you're just going to take really the very tip off. Okay.
Go take out your tongue there.
That's it, just like that. See, that was easy, wasn't it?
That was easy. So very small, but I got afraid there when the tongue came out. Pete, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us all season. Hopefully we'll see you again in September and have a fantastic summer.
You too, Dahi.
Lovely. Good morning. Now over to you, Trishana.
Now,
L.
The Pet Clinic on Today, sponsored by petfix-club.com. Love your pet? Join the club.